Hi guys, welcome to Lisa Lives. Today I have another horror tag for you, and this one has been started by Sean Erschen, a gentleman I've just got to know recently on YouTube, really nice guy. He previously did a Michael Myers one also, which I hope to actually do. I'm not going to get time to do this tonight sadly, so it'll follow at a later date, but I'm going to do the Jason Voorhees one today. I'm going to pop the Sean's channel down below in the description, most specifically the video with all the questions. I will also note the questions below on my channel if you want to have a look through them. Right, so differently to normal, the nosy person that I am, I like to watch everyone's tag videos, but what I found in the last few I've done, if I'm going to answer the same as someone, I'm usually quite reticent to give that answer. Resident, you know what I mean. So I'm not going to watch anyone else's, obviously apart from Sean's who started the tag, because I want to give my honest answers and not be swayed by maybe someone else giving the same answer and trying to seek another one. So I know some people that I love their channels have been tagged in this. I'm expecting to see Horrific Nightmares JM, and I would imagine he'll maybe tag, I would expect to see the Horror Man, maybe the Last Shoegazer. So channels that I really enjoy. By the time I upload this, it'll be later in the evening, so I would imagine anybody's that I've seen, I will actually put links in my description so you can have a look at what some other people are writing as well, but obviously Sean will have the rest on his page, no doubt. So, let me see, so this is the Jason Voorhees tag. I'm just going to start with this because I think it's pretty cool. Every self-respecting horror fan has one of these. The reason I'm showing you this, I've showed you this before, but I actually didn't know this when my husband got me this. I thought, he said he painted it, so I assumed he'd like put a little bit of blood detail and stuff on, and it came, the rest of it was pretty much as it came, but no. These masks can be pretty expensive. My husband got this, I think, for £1.99 on eBay as a plain white hockey mask, completely white, completely plain. And he's actually painted all the detail that you can see, sort of like dapple paint, all the sort of weathering and brownness on there and the little arrows and stuff. So he hasn't just painted that like stupid old me imagined, he's actually done the whole thing for me. So it pays to have a crafty artistic husband. So £1.99 for my nifty Jason mask. It's not too bad. Up he goes. Right, I cut out all the twaddle of me putting it back up on the wall out because I'm just a klutz, just let's put it that way. Right, so we have 8 questions. As I said, I'll pop them down in the link below. So number 1, if there was never a sequel to the original Friday the 13th movie in 1980, would it still be considered a classic? Right. I really enjoy the original movie, where obviously Jason's mum is the killer. As much as I enjoy the movie, I'm going to answer that with a no. Simply because when you think of Friday the 13th, you think of Jason. When you think of Friday the 13th and Jason, you think of the hockey mask. While I think the original is a really good movie, I do not think that it would have the same cult status as it has. Like you've got something like The Burning, which is a really awesome slasher movie of a similar kind of ilk, but I've found it's not that well known, apart from amongst people who adore horror, but generally every Joe Bloggs on the street knows what Friday the 13th is, they know what Halloween is, but most people, unless they're really into horror, don't know what The Burning is, even though it's an awesome movie. So I'm going to say no, it would not be the classic that it is, because I think we needed the series and we needed the introduction of Jason as the killer to make it what it was, so yeah. And Friday the 13th, as much as I enjoy the series, was only actually, they were cashing in on the success of Halloween, that's why they were made in the first place, so yeah, I would say no. Number 2, what's your favourite Friday the 13th movie? I changed my mind on this a couple of times because it's been a while since I've actually watched them, and I find you might see the light changes a bit. It's quite sunny out today and the sun's going behind the clouds and stuff, so if you see us changing light, that's what it is. I had to sort of remind myself what happened in what movies to sort of be able to answer the questions. Some, obviously, I remembered what movie it was. Others, I wasn't too sure. So I did change my mind a bit. Something about the movies that I absolutely adore for a couple of them is we've got Tom Savini in effects, and I don't think you can get very many people better than him at effects. He did the first movie. To my knowledge, and I hope I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he was responsible for 2 or 3, but he came back for 4. Originally I'd actually written down part 3, because that's where we're introduced to the hockey mask, that's where Jason has that infamous, you know, the look that we expect from him, where it started as a real cult thing, but this is probably going to be an unpopular choice. I have actually chosen part 4, the final chapter, as my favourite. As obviously Tom Savini does this when I really like the story. I like, should I say I like what happens in the end? Yeah, I like what happens in the end. This actually reminded me of, this question reminded me of a question in the slasher tag. I think it was a slasher tag that we did a while back, which was how many sequels do you think are too many, or how many should there be? And I answered it really hypocritically by saying maybe 2 or 3, but when it's a season or a series, it's not a series, what is it you call it, you'll get to know this about me, the words, it's called fibro fog. It's like, I used to be really good with thinking of words and I am just crap. Have I written it down here anywhere? The word? No, I haven't. Franchise! I have written it down, franchise. And now Lisa's forgotten what the bloody thing she was saying is. Yeah, if you really enjoy a franchise, you just want to see more and more. So I suppose it's good that they made as many. I think there are 12 as there are, but I think it would have been really strong ending it at part 4. That's maybe unpopular, but yeah. But part 4 is my favourite. I just liked the storyline. I thought the acting was stronger. I liked the Jason. Part 4. Number 3. What's your least favourite Friday the 13th movie? Right, I've actually written 2 down here and I find it really hard to choose between them, and that's Jason Goes to Hell or Freddy vs. Jason. I don't like them as a concept in a movie, putting 2 big protagonists like Jason and Freddy or whoever it might be against one another. I think they both stand so strong in their own right, in their own movie franchises, that it's just really wanting to cash in on the fans to make these movies. They're a bit tongue-in-cheek. It just doesn't do it for me. I'm not a fan of that concept, so yeah. Number 4. Who is your favourite final girl in the franchise? Right, I'm going to cheat here, Sean, I hope you don't mind. I am not going to answer with my favourite final girl. I'm going to answer with my favourite final boy. If I had to say a girl, it would have been Jenny from part 2. But I am going to go with Tommy in the final chapter, part 4 at the end. Where he, I just love the fact, well, I'm sure everyone knows, like, he cuts his hair to remind Jason of him as a child, and does what no one else has been able to do and manages to kill Jason. He just, to me, he's just, yeah, I'm going to pick final boy. I'm going to have Tommy as my favourite final boy. Number 5. What's your favourite kill in the franchise? Right, I've got 2 answers for this. One tongue-in-cheek, one funny, one not so. And I answered this also. This is probably going to be quite repetitive when people answer this, as I can imagine this will come up a few times, is the liquid nitrogen scene from Jason X. It just ingenious. We get a lot of knife kills, we get a lot of hacking, beating kills, but that one was just ingenious. It was so different, and the special effects involved with it were just astounding, just really, really good. So I picked that one. Also, I believe from the same movie, actually. Yeah. If you remember in part 7, this isn't a favourite kill, but it'll come into it. In part 7, A New Blood, we had the sleeping bag kill, where bashing the sleeping bag off the tree and all that stuff. But then later, in Jason X, I hope I'm right when I say that, where they recreate that with the 2 girls in the sleeping bag with the CGI, like, hollow thing that a nerd sets up to try and like entice Jason or distract Jason. And we just know when we see the scene, when we see these two sexy girls in the sleeping bags, we just know exactly what's going to happen. And it just made me laugh. I just think it's so funny. Maybe it's not funny that he beats the two girls with each other in the sleeping bags. Maybe that's not amusing. I find that funny as hell. So yeah, I am going to choose that as a favourite kill purely because it amused me no end. So yeah, Jason X, two girls in the sleeping bag. Going back to part 7 with the actual real brutal kill in the sleeping bag. So yeah. 6. Who is your favourite actor to play Jason? Right. I'm going to have to go with Kane Hodder. I like the fact he's very big, he's very broad, he's lumbering. I know there's 2 different Jasons. There's a slimmer, more lithe, quicker, and the guy's first name's not coming to me. White, is it Ted White? Ted White. Obviously he's a lot slimmer, he's faster, he doesn't have the same. I like the big lumbering Jason. I like the slow walking Jason. He's just scarier to me. I don't know why. I find something more frightening about that big imposing slow lumbering oafish form that he had. So I'm going to say that. And also, this is completely immaterial. I've just recently been watching Texas Frightmare Weekend, I think, like a convention in Texas with some people that I'm subscribed to. There's a channel called Hot Cheetos and Blood. It's got, I've specifically been watching Al's Horror Shop, who's part of that. We've got Horror Fiend, we've got Horror in Me, we've got a few different ones that were all at this convention at the weekend. And it was just so fun to watch. In Ireland, we don't get horror conventions. It's crap. We used to get, we had like Comic-Con and things like that with, you know, superhero Marvel type stuff. We've had a couple of Star Wars ones. But they've taken that away from us as well because it's not financially viable for them to come over to Ireland. So it's crap. So I've been watching, sort of living vicariously through these other people and watching the convention. And what I was getting to, the reason for the massive deviation, as I am prone to do, Kane Hodder was actually at it. And he had just some really, really good interaction with the guy behind Horror Fiend channel. He's Scottish. He lives in Canada, but he's from Scotland, and he had a lot of fun with his accent, and he asked the guy to say his name in the accent, and he loved it, and he just seemed like such a really nice, warm, pleasant, down-to-earth guy. Anyway, that's immaterial. He was my favourite, Jason. Number 7. Were you happy with the events of part 5? And if not, what would you have done differently? I find this question quite difficult. Maybe because I have the imagination of a goldfish. I am not creative in any... Well, musically, yeah, but when it comes to thinking up things, I was a kid that could never build anything with Lego apart from a square box with a window in it if I was being really inventive. I'm going to say... I remember watching this. I remember not being very happy about Roy being the killer. If they were going to have anyone else being the killer, I would have preferred it to be Tommy. I know that probably won't be... What's Tommy's second name? Jarvis. Corey Feldman. Before he was weird. I would have found it quite interesting to find Tommy after he had obviously killed Jason in the previous one. I would have found it quite interesting to have him as the killer, if anyone. But to be honest, for me, you could just skip that one out entirely and just bring Jason back like we did in the others. I'm not going to say it's awful. It was an okay movie, but Roy would not have been my choice. If there was ever going to be someone else that wasn't Jason that was the killer, it would not have been Roy. So yeah, I hope that answers it. Number 8, and finally you'll be glad to hear with my waffle. This is why I put the questions in the comments. You don't have to listen to me waffle then. Number 8, do you think the next Friday the 13th film should be a remake of the 1980, a sequel to the 2009 reboot, or a whole new story? Right, I'm going to say none of the 3. I would like to see, and this is going to go down like a lead balloon because most people hate it, I really enjoyed what Rob Zombie did with Halloween. I really enjoyed the origin side of things. I would really like to see an origin movie about Jason. Obviously we know about his deformities and we know that his mum brought him up isolated away from everyone else. He didn't go to school. where he got that real hero worship and almost slight fear of his mother, like the reverence he has towards his mother. I would like to see more detail in that. I would like to see what shaped Jason to be what he was. Yeah, so if I was going to do anything, it would be an origin, it would be a prequel, I suppose. But yeah, or just do another sequel, do a whole new one. Don't remake anything else. You know, there's too much of this remaking stuff. It's like, no, stop it. Give us a bit of advice on what happened before, or just continue on with the story. So, either way. So yeah, that's all 8 questions. Yeah. So, shall I tag anyone? The few people that I would have tagged have already been tagged or have already done it. I am not going to tag anyone because I'm sure people are sick of the sight of me tagging them. Someone I would have tagged is on holiday in Rome at the moment, which would have been Horror Miser Monty J. So when you're back, Lamont, if you see this, hope you had an awesome time in Rome. But yeah, I'm going to tag you. That's a Horror Miser Monty J. I have already tagged some other friends in the Star Wars one yesterday. So should I tag anyone else? No. So aside from that one, I'm just going to say I'm going to leave it open. I love to see anyone's answers on these questions. I really enjoy tags. I think on YouTube it's actually one of my favourite forms of videos. I love watching the tag videos and seeing everyone's answers. I think it's just an excellent way to get people together, to get people talking about things. So yeah, I want to come up with one of my own actually, and I will do. On what at this stage I'm not sure. We will see. It may be Saw, because I am a bit of a Saw freak. I'm not going to say they're the best quality movies in the world, but my sick little mind just loves the games, loves the whole concept. So yeah, it might be Saw. So look out for that. I will come up with one. So yeah, the waffling has ceased. I am going to go and get myself plunked to my sofa because the Eurovision Song Contest is on this evening. It's one of my guilty pleasures. It's hilarious. Most of the acts, like more than 3/4, are terrible, but I just love to sit and watch it, and I've deviated. I'm off to watch the Eurovision Song Contest this evening. So, hope you enjoyed that little, I was going to say Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees tag. Really hope to see some of the rest of you do it. And with that said, it is over and out from Lisa Loves.